When I look back on my life, there's definitely some key moments and things that define who I am today. As I'm sure if everybody else looks back on their own life, they definitely can pinpoint things in the past that really shape and, I guess, alter the person that they are right now. For me, Pokemon's always been a part of my life ever since I was a kid, and obviously it had to start somewhere, and for me it was when I got Pokemon Fire Red. Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green was released in North America on September 7th, 2004, and that is the release date of this video. It was released a little bit earlier in, other continents, most likely Japan and stuff, but for North America, that's when it was released. Looking back though, I don't know how it's been 20 years since then, because it obviously has felt like time has elapsed since I first got the game, but I can remember that memory quite vividly. It was quite impactful. But yeah, I don't know how it's been 20 years since then. It definitely doesn't feel that long ago, not even close. But that memory of when I first got the game is almost crystal clear. I remember waking up on Christmas morning. The only flaw in this memory is I don't remember if it was 2004 or 2005, and if I'm looking back, it had to be 2005 because I also had a Darth Vader hat on while playing the game. Regardless of that little detail, I remember getting up Christmas morning, walking over to our couch. It was green, the green couch, and on the left side, the side that I always slept on and watched TV, was Pokemon Fire Red in that beautiful box, and it had the blue Game Boy right next to it. These weren't wrapped because that's how we did Christmas. And on the other side of the couch was Leaf Green, and so my sister got a red Game Boy. I guess Game Boy Advance SP, we should be a little more specific. But I remember looking at the Game Boy, being so excited, like my head was on fire. I turned away. Just turned away. I was like, I don't even want to look at that right now. I can't contain the emotions or thought. Again, I was only like 6 or 7 at this time. And I guess I was like 7. But yeah, I remember that game, and I remember charging it. My dad was like, you gotta charge, you got a full battery, you gotta charge it all the way because that's how you're supposed to do batteries or whatever. And I remember my grandma, when they came up to visit on Christmas, she asked me if I was using my new Christmas presents, and I was like, yeah, I got 3 of them. I remember saying the Game Boy, Fire Red, and I got my hat on, my Vader hat. So it had to be 2005. It's weird looking back on this memory too, because obviously it had to be first person, but I can almost see myself in that moment. I don't know, it's kind of weird. I'm pretty sure we all have similar memories and things like that. But yeah, it's been 20 years since then, and I'm not really sure where the time went, but as you can tell by either this video or this channel, still playing the games to this day and just enjoying it. And I obviously like the games, but the main thing about these games is it takes me back to that time where, you're just a kid, your imagination is going wild, and it's just simple, obviously nostalgia is the key word here, but I feel like I overuse that word, but it's very nostalgic, and that's what I love most about the game. So what I wanted to do was share some experiences and thoughts and memories about this game, especially from when I was a kid. I think a lot of people would find it enjoyable, but I also wanted to replay Fire Red and Leaf Green for myself, because it's been a while since I actually did. It's probably been 7 or 8 years, maybe 6 years, because in 2015 is when I started that Pokemon Fire Red save file, which I still have today. So I decided to restart my Leaf Green game, and in this video gonna kind of chat about me playing through the game. I didn't record a lot of gameplay because, one of the things you have to do when you record the game, obviously, is point it at a camera. You gotta get the lighting and stuff, make it all kind of pretty. And to me, that just took away from my own personal experience, playing the game. I wanted to sit down and enjoy the game. I wanted to sit on the couch, hang out with some family, maybe go to the beach or something, play some Pokemon, have a good time. So I didn't record a lot, but I did take a lot of pictures along the way. So one of the things I originally was going to do was use some of my favorite Pokemon in this playthrough. However, I soon realized that a lot of my favorite Pokemon are in Fire Red and not in Leaf Green. They're exclusive, again, to Fire Red. So that kind of altered how I was going to play this game. And again, that's one reason why I love Fire Red over Leaf Green. So I like Pokemon I want on my team were Vileplume and Arbok, and those are exclusive to Fire Red. And I guess I could trade them over, but I don't know. I kind of I didn't want to do that. I don't know how to explain it. I wanted to play the game in itself, you know, experience Leaf Green for Leaf Green. So what I decided to do was I wanted to pick Pokemon that they're good, they're cool Pokemon, but they're Pokemon I never really just put on a team or like decided to train before. And they also have something extra, if that makes, like, there's some other reason why, or somebody else likes this Pokemon, and that is why I am doing it. Some initial thoughts for the team, I was thinking about Sandslash, Kingler, ride on a Nidoking, I kind of have to because they're some of my favorite Pokemon, they're rhinos, you gotta add them. But like Magneton, maybe Mr. Mime, just things like that, just, and like Kingler, someone on the channel really likes Kingler, so I was like, yeah, Kingler sounds cool. Magneton's also pretty cool too. Sandslash is another one that's just kind of a cool Pokemon. But anyway, so I decided to start playing through the game. I decided to pick Bulbasaur just because he's super chill. I don't know, he's kind of cute too. And typically I'd go for Charizard, you know, so everybody loves Charmander and Charizard, but Venusaur is also pretty cool. And I was originally going to go Vileplume, or get a Vileplume, so I needed some sort of grass type too. I was debating dropping out Bulbasaur, just because, you know, if I drop the starters then I get a whole nother Pokemon. But anyway, that's later discussion. What's actually funny though is I ended up losing the first match. I don't know how, but you know, I just got a little unlucky and we lost. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's always so nostalgic though, walking through these first grassy areas. It's just like the start of a whole new adventure and game, and like that music just kind of slaps in a certain way, especially when you only have like one Pokemon in your party. But yeah, anyway, we did the normal beginning stuff, you know, went up to Viridian City and then went past it, you know, blah, 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 blah. This dude right here, this guy who gives you the Teachy TV or whatever, I always thought his like facial hair was a tissue. I don't know, as a kid I just never really understood that, but I thought it was a tissue. I also forgot how slow this game is without running shoes, because every other game you get it pretty early, and this one you gotta beat the first gym. Yeah, you go slow. Anyway, though, we went to Viridian Forest pretty easy, just kind of went through it. And Brock was also quite easy because we had Vine Whip, kind of cheating over here. Bulbasaur actually ended up evolving to Ivysaur. We didn't really capture any other Pokemon. But then we did encounter a Nidorino female, and in this game, the male version's a lot rarer. So, I mean, Nidoqueen's cool, but Nidoking's a lot cooler. I ended up capturing the female version, just because I wanted like one of the Nidoking Pokemon on my team. But right after that, I ended up finding the 1% male in the route before Mount Moon, so I ended up capturing that, and we're going to put that on our team because I love Nidoking. Did some leveling up before we headed into Mount Moon. We got the Nidoran level 12, Ivysaur level 18. Nothing really exciting happened in Mount Moon, you know, just getting through it. In case you didn't know, there's a free Moonstone right over here. There's a free one right before you get that fossil. I decided to go with the Helix fossil because I do like Kabutops more. So I was like, you know what? Let's go Omastar this time. We also, beating Misty was pretty easy too. We kind of just used, you know, Razor Leaf and Vine Whip and got the job done. I do have some interesting stories though with Cerulean City specifically. So the first time I ever saw this game, I was at my friend Justin's house, sitting on his couch in his living room, and he whipped out the Game Boy SPs with the Pokemon games in it. I'll never forget that. And the part he was at in the game was he was running across the Nugget Bridge in Cerulean City. And I thought that was so cool. I was like, what are you doing? So he was doing that, and then his brother came in the room and he was hanging out with us. And he whipped out his black SP, and he was only in like the first of the Viridian City. And he was letting me play because I was like, this game is so cool. And to the left of Viridian City, they have that little patch of grass where you can get like Mankey and I think a Spearow, but whatever. The Mankey, he was like, we encountered a Mankey, and he's like, yo, our Pokemon's kind of good and rare. I was like, no way, I never seen Mankey before. Yeah, that was my first time ever playing the game, and that had to be in the fall time, and I don't remember. It had to be, it was more likely 2005. But yeah, the first time I ever saw the game was that. Anyway, I have another story about Cerulean City. So in Bill's house, when you gotta like make him into a person again, the text says like, go to my PC and I'll like come back to being a human or something like that. And as a kid, I didn't know PC meant personal computer. I thought PC meant Pokemon Center. So every time I went in that house and tried to like help him out, I would run back to the Pokemon Center and just try to do something. Looking at the game, it's very obvious you go to the computer. But me as a kid, I didn't understand. So the first like I don't even remember. It must have been like months, like probably 6-7 months. I remember it was the summertime, and a friend at the time, Carter, we were in the car. I finally got over the embarrassment and was like, hey man, how do you get past this stage? He's like, oh, you just go talk to the computer. And he just did it for me, and that opened up this whole world inside that game that I didn't even know existed. I mean, I knew there was stuff out there, but you know, you just don't have that. It's like gray. It's darkness. You don't understand what's on the other side of that town. So, yeah. This is also kind of like a time where you didn't just look stuff up on the internet. I mean, I guess you could have, but you just didn't, you know. And I didn't have a guide either. But yeah, I would be stuck Cerulean City for so long. Then I would just keep restarting the game. Like I would get a really high Charizard. Like I remember being like level 40 at one time, and then just restarting the game because I didn't know what to do after that. I just kept getting stuck. And again, it looks obvious now, but at the time, little me was like not understanding. Getting back to the game, did some more leveling up. You know, we got a Nidorino. He's getting pretty cool. I am going to wait till I think level 43 is when it learns Crunch, and then we'll give it the Moonstone, because I don't want to give it the Moonstone evolve with the Nido King yet because it doesn't learn any other cool moves. Yeah, we went up to Nugget Bridge, beat Gary, and did all that stuff. Also, Cerulean City. If you don't know, there's a free rare candy right in this spot. Just go in that house and talk to that grass spot right there to get a free rare candy. So after all that stuff in Cerulean City, we went down to Vermilion City. Ended up picking up a Sandshrew. Sandshrew cute, and also Sandslash is pretty awesome. And the sprite for Sandshrew, or like when you throw him out in the Pokeball or whatever, look how cute he is. He's like a little like nugget. He's a little armadillo dude, just sitting there being all cute. So we gotta add him on the team. And in this picture, you see a Magneton. Magneton is pretty cool too. So once we get to the power plant, we're gonna capture one and get ourselves a Magneton as well. Went to the cruise ship, you know, did all that stuff. I got TM Rest. So one of the things that I'm doing with this playthrough also is going through getting all the TMs and items that I really want. Like, you know, like the Master Ball. We'll get like another EXP share, even though we don't really need one. But mostly just TMs. Like I'm looking for Earthquake, Toxic, Psychic, Rest, and also I'm going to note the move tutors in this game, like Explosion or Rock Slide, because they can only learn it once. So I'm going to make sure that any Pokemon that I want these tutors or TMs for, you know, just gonna make a note and know that in this game I have some options if we want to transfer Pokemon to this game and give them those moves before we're starting the game in the future. I ended up teaching Sandshrew Dig because Sandshrew doesn't learn naturally any ground type moves besides Sand Attack and Sandstorm, which technically I'm not counting as ground moves. Doesn't do any damage. So we gave it Dig, and I'm probably not going to teach it Earthquake because I want that TM for the other game, or for, you know, like the Emerald playthrough and stuff. Or not playthrough, but the Battle Frontier. Also in Vermilion City, right next to like this place. This is like north of Vermilion City. Get another free rare candy, in case you don't know. Check it out. Sandshrew ended up evolving into Sandslash, and then we pretty easily defeat Lieutenant Surge. Obviously we got Dig. After that, headed up to Rock Tunnel. Had to go through there, that whole mess. Rock Tunnel as a kid, I would get lost and just restart the game. That is a brutal place, especially if you don't have Flash. I was able to make it through this time without using Flash and only looking at the guide once because I was at a point where I was like, where am I? So I just had to use it. It's not a big deal. One thing I remembered to do the second I got to Lavender Town was grab the bike. Forgot to grab the bike. I talked to the guy from Vermilion City to get the bike, and then I just never got it. So it's one thing I have to do in the near future. I do remember though one time as a kid getting stuck in Rock Tunnel, and like I saved the game, and then when I got back to it later, I didn't know where I was. And again, I didn't have a guide, didn't really have the internet. Again, the internet was a thing, just didn't know. But yeah, I just ended up restarting the game. I did end up playing a little bit more of this game, but for some reason I didn't take pictures. I'm not exactly sure why. I didn't get too far though. I get to Celadon City, and I don't even think we beat the gym, but I ended up grabbing the TM Fly and then getting the bike. I do have a quick story too. My one friend Matt, I remember it was like the summer, probably like August time, because it was like right before school, but like we were going apple picking, so it was like it was hot before school, but apple picking was ripe. And we were in the car, and he was showing me his like level 70 Charizard. It had cut on it. Remember, he was like bragging how powerful the Charizard was because it could use its weakest move Cut on like a Pokemon and destroy it. I remember being so impressed at the time too. That memory is ingrained in me for some reason as well, because I think it also had, or his Pokemon also had Blast Burn on it, so he's like, watch me use Cut and then Blast Burn. And that just had like, it just showed how powerful the Charizard was, you know? Yeah, I remember heading back from apple picking. I don't even know how we did with the apple picking, but it didn't matter. The car ride was the real thrill. I plan on continuing the Leaf Green adventure, but probably just on my own time, you know? I mean, we'll make some videos and chat about it, but, you know, one thing I'm careful about is, obviously, making videos is fun, but I also like enjoying the game as well, and I think there has to be some sort of separation, because everything I play, I also can't record, because then it loses the enjoyment for me. But I'm also happy to chat about it as well too, you know. One thing I want to mention too is I remember as a kid how long it took to progress through the game, and how long everything took. It just felt like maybe I could play through the game now without really trying too hard, and maybe like 7 to like 10 hours, something like that. But as a kid, it'd be like 30 hours in, you'd be like the third gym, and just, I don't even know what took so long. But it's also because you probably didn't know exactly where to go and the things to do. And also, you're just enjoying the game for what it is in itself. And I feel like, at least for me, not that I do it anymore, but there was definitely a time previously in my life where like games, I didn't know how to have like fun with games, if that makes sense. Or like the fun in the game was being so good at it and fast and like not strong. I don't even know, just being like proficient at it. But sometimes you just gotta like sit back and enjoy the game for what it is, and like not look up everything to do and how to min-max everything. You're just enjoying the game. So I sort of missed that like innocence, or like the lack of knowledge that I had, and maybe other people too, about certain games and things like that, because you just get a different experience out of it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I kind of missed that part of it. And even like using guides and stuff is kind of fine. Like it's different than looking up online and being like, how do I exactly get this? And, you know, what's the best team to use? I don't know, just things like that. I always kind of think about, and that's again the one thing that I do really like about these games, replaying these games, are it's just, I don't need to prove anything to myself. I just need to have fun with the game itself, if that makes sense. And I guess that's kind of what I'm doing too with the Emerald Battle Frontier. Just trying to use some of my favorite Pokemon. If I don't get the gold medal, whatever, you know, it doesn't matter. I'm having some fun. Anyway, though, I just can't believe it's been 20 years since this game came out. I mean, that'll put me at like 27 years old. Pretty crazy. I mean, we're going to be saying the same thing in 10 more years when it's 30 years old. And I know Emerald, and I guess Ruby Sapphire are already 20 years, but I think Emerald's coming up too as well. I just don't know where the time went, you know. Like, it's sad in a sense, but also it's not, because, you know, I always remember the Dr. Seuss quote, "Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened." And I think it's some really good words to live by. And I mean, yeah, I'm not at least experiencing the game as the same as I was as a kid, but I don't have to, and I shouldn't almost in a way, because there's a time and place for everything, right? Like the Professor Oak quote. But I can still appreciate how I appreciated the game in the past, or enjoyed it in the past, and still have fun with it today, even though it might not be in the same manner. Kind of rambling a little bit, but definitely just some thoughts and things that I bet a lot of other people think about as well. And no, you're not alone in that thought process, you know. Anyway, though, if you do like this content, we got a lot of Pokemon videos on the channel, mostly dedicating to the Gen 3 games, although I will be doing Gen 4 soon. And the way that it's looking, I'm really craving Gen 4. Like, I'm really feeling the Soul Silver and Heart Gold. It's been so long since I've done those games, and I've been playing the Gen 3 games like religiously the last, like, I guess I wouldn't say almost 10 years, but on and off 10 years, but more like 2 years I've been grinding. So it would be nice to get a little change of pace and things, get those save files, get them going. Thank you all for watching. It's been 20 years, 20 good years, and there'll be many more great years in the future. Just gotta be optimistic, gotta have fun. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Again, check out the other videos on the channel. Hope you're all enjoying Pokemon and whatever other games you're playing. Take care, everybody. Hope you have a good one.